Welcome back to the Think CSEC channel. Today we'll be doing the CSEC Office Administration May-June 2017 paper 1. So let us get right into it. The first question says, which of the following services is a function performed by the general office? A. Delivering goods. B. Manufacturing goods. C. Producing information. Or D. Designing new products. So our answer would be C. Producing information. And this question was on the May-June 2019 past paper 1. So here we have another repeat. So that is why it is so important, guys, that you practice and keep watching these videos over and over so that when you see these questions, you'll remember them. Okay, let us move on into number 2. A printed pamphlet which describes goods for sale is called A. Leaflet, B. Price list, C. Catalog, or D. Sales inquiry. So our answer would be C. Catalog. Let's move on to number 3. Which type of office layout encourages more efficient teamwork? A. Open plan. B. Virtual office. C. Cellular office. Or D. Traditional plan. Our answer would be A. It would be open plan. These questions are being repeated again. So let's move on to question number 4. Which of the following cards is least likely to be used in the factory office? A. Bin. B. Job. C. Cost. Or D. Time. So our answer would be A. Bin. Let's move on to number 5. Which of the following should be given the most consideration when designing an ergonomically efficient office? A. Employees' personal diet. B. Employees' hours of work. C. Type of equipment being utilized. Or D. Arrangement of physical workspace. So our answer would be D. Arrangement of physical workspace. Let's move on to number 6. A customer argues that she did not receive a shipment of goods. Which device would most likely be used to send the signed delivery note to the manager who is at another branch? A. Scanner. B. Facsimile. C. Computer. Or D. Digital camera. So our answer would be B. Facsimile. Let's go on to number 7. Which flow of communication gives employees the opportunity to ask questions and make complaints? A. Upward. B. Vertical. C. Horizontal. Or D. Downward. Our answer would be A. Upward. Let's go on to number 8. The main disadvantage of oral communication is that there is no A. Record. B. Privacy. C. Reliability. Or D. Impression. Our answer would be C. reliability. That would be the main disadvantage of oral communication. Let's go on to number 9. Which of the following types of office layout is best suited for maintaining privacy in the office? A. Virtual. B. Locked. C. Cellular. Or D. Open plan. So our answer would be C. Cellular. Let's move on to number 10. Which of the following pieces of computer hardware is an output device? A. CPU. B. Mouse. C. Monitor. Or D. Keyboard. So we know it would be the monitor. So our answer would be C. Let's move on to question number 11. In an office where large quantities of printed materials have to be cut to size, it would be most useful to have access to A, to guillotine, B, letter opener, C, sharp edged knife, or D, large pair of scissors. When we use the method of elimination, we know a large amount of printed materials to be cut in size. A letter opener could not be used, a sharp edged knife could not be used, neither a large pair of scissors. So our office equipment would be a guillotine. Let's move on to number 12. A businessman is traveling to a country which is 1 hour ahead of the time in his country. If the plane departs at 12 noon and the flight takes 1 hour and 15 minutes, what time will it be when he arrives at his destination? A. 2:15 hours. B. 12:15 hours. C. 13:15 hours. Or D. 14:15 hours. We know it would be D. 14:15 hours. Let's move on to question number 13. Here we have a telephone message form. We have our message, we have the letter H. Let's look at the question. The person who received the phone call and recorded the message is A. J. Ben, B. R. Smith, C. M. Santos, or D. W. Daniel. If we notice at the end of the message, we see W. Daniel. That is the person who received the phone call. So our answer would be D. Let's move on to number 14. An important document must be sent to an overseas customer via post office mail. The document should be sent as A. First class mail, B. Second class mail, C. Posta Restante service, or D. Standard mail service. We know it would be A. First class mail, right? Because it's a very important document. Let's move on to number 15. Mrs. Jones was selected for the position of receptionist of an engineering firm. On accepting the job, she was given a document outlining the work she is expected to perform. This is called a job A. Listing, B. Evaluation, C. Description, or D. Specification. We know it would be called a job description. It's describing the job. So it would be C. Let's move on to number 16. It is now 3 months since a graduate applied for a job at a large firm. The graduate only received a letter of acknowledgement. What action should the graduate take to indicate that he or she is still interested in the job? A. Write another letter of application. B. Write a letter to follow up on the application. C. Telephone a friend who works with the firm. Or D. Visit the company and ask to see the human resource manager. We know it could not be A, C, nor D. So the best thing is to write a follow-up letter upon the application that was written. So our answer would be B. Let's move on to question number 17. Item 17 refers to the following extract. In response to your advertisement in the Trinidad Express dated 4th of February 2017, I hereby apply for the position of clerk in your firm. In which of the following types of letters are you most likely to find the above extract? A. Solicited. B. Follow-up. C. Unsolicited. Or D. Acknowledgement. So our answer would be A. It would be in a solicited letter. That's the type of letter you would use. Let's move on to number 18. Which of the following is an optional section in a resume? A. Education. B. Contact information. C. List of academic awards. Or D. Skills and work experience. So we know what is optional. It would be C. List of academic awards. We know education is very important in a resume. It's a must. Contact information is a must. And your skills and work experience is the must. So we know the one that is not necessarily included is a list of academic awards. Let's move on to question number 19. Which of the following situations would cause a file to be classified as inactive? A. A supplier now sells a wider range of goods. B. The organization has stopped buying from a particular supplier. C. A company with which the organization deals has changed its name. D. A company with which the organization deals has changed in business address. So our answer would be B. The organization has stopped buying from a particular supplier. So that would cause that file to go classified as inactive. Let's go on to number 20. Which of the following acts allows trade unions to negotiate salaries on behalf of employees? We know once we're doing it with trade unions, we know it is industrial relations. That's a giveaway. So it's not factories, it's not C, workers' compensation, nor D, occupational health and safety. Our answer is B, industrial relations. Let's move on to number 21. Which of the following is not a characteristic of registered mail? A. Offers proof of postage. B. Facilitates safe delivery of mail. C. Normally sent by second class mail. Or D. Offers compensation for loss or damage. So, which one of them is not a characteristic? So we know it will be C, normally sent by second class mail. That is our answer. Let's move on to number 22. Which of the following items would be included in a memorandum? A. Date. B. Salutation. C. Time of day. Or D. Complimentary clause. Our answer would be A. Date. Right? We know that would be included in our memorandum. Let's move on to 23. XYZ Construction has 10 branches and 3,000 customers across the Caribbean. The most appropriate records management classification system for XYZ Construction to use is A. Subject, B. Numerical, C. Alphabetical, or D. Geographical. Customers across the Caribbean, right? So we know it would be D. Geographical. Let's move on to number 24. A records management clerk should file documents for Mary Ixon Smith as A. Smith Mary, B. Ixon Mary, C. Smith Ixon Mary, or D. Ixon Smith Mary. So we know it would be D. Ixon Smith Mary. That's how we would write. We would file a document, in a record management. Okay, let's move on to number 25. A visitor arrives at the office without an appointment. What is the most suitable action for the receptionist to take? A. Take him or her to see the manager immediately. B. Invite the visitor to wait until he or she contacts someone to assist. Or C. Give the visitor a chance to wait before meeting a member of staff. Or D. Tell the visitor that he or she can only receive attention if an appointment is made. We know the best suitable action that a receptionist would need to take is to invite the visitor to wait until he or she contacts someone to assist. Right? That's what the receptionist would do. Let's move on to 26. The privilege an individual has to view his personal data is referred to as A. Right of access, B. Secrecy provisions, C. Breach of confidence, or D. Defamation of character. We know it could not be the latter three. So it would be A. Right of access. Let's go on to number 27. An advantage of centralized filing is that A. It takes less time to retrieve files. B. More space and equipment are required. C. All records are stored and managed in one place. Or D. All records are stored and managed in each department. So our answer would be C. All records are stored and managed in one place, right? That's what centralized filing, an advantage of it. Let's move on to number 28. Which of the following terms is used to describe a committee which has been set up to deal with a specific matter? A. Ad hoc, B. Central, C. General, or D. Administrative. Our answer would be A. Ad hoc. Let's go on to number 27. In order to promote a positive image of the organization, the receptionist should 1. monitor visitors while they are waiting. 2, treat visitors with courtesy and respect. 3, share the company's information with visitors. So is it A, 1 only? Is it B, 1 and 2 only? Is it C, 2 and 3 only? Or is it D, 1, 2, and 3? We know that 1 and 2 would be our answer. So in order to promote a positive image, the receptionist would have to monitor visitors while they are waiting and treat visitors with courtesy and respect. The receptionist should never share the company's information with visitors. That is unacceptable. Breach of privacy. So our answer would be B, 1 and 2 only. Let's move on to question number 30. The chairperson's role in a meeting is to 1, control the discussions and guide members. 2, make notes of the discussion as it takes place. 3, ensure all members are given an opportunity to speak. Is it A, 1 and 2 only? Is it B, 1 and 3 only? Is it C, 2 and 3 only? Or is it D, all of the above, 1, 2, and 3? So our answer would be 1 and 3 only. Control the discussions and guide members and ensure all members are given an opportunity to speak. Let's move on to number 31. Which of the following can be used as a reminder system in an organization? 1, appointment books. 2, tickler files. 3, diaries. So let's look at our answers. Is it A, 1 only? Is it B, 1 and 2 only? Is it 3, 1 and 3 only? Or is it D, 1, 2, and 3? So we know all of the above that is mentioned is necessarily appointment books, stickler files, and diaries. So all of those can be used as a reminder system in an organization. Let's move on to number 32. Your employer wishes to hold a meeting in the staff room on 18th of June at 8 a.m. Which of the following documents should be prepared and distributed prior to the meeting? A, minutes. B, agenda. C, motion. D, chairman's agenda. So we know it would be agenda. That would be our answer, B. Let's go on to number 33. Mrs. K bought a new stove on hire purchase from New and Used Appliances Limited. She wants to authorize her bank to make monthly payments. Which of the following services would she use? A, debit order. B, money order. C, credit transfer. Or D, standing order. We know it will be D, standing order. Let's go on to 34. When the ABC Life Insurance Company collapsed, the membership called a meeting to discuss issues pertaining to policies. This type of meeting is referred to as a statutory, B, committee, C, annual general, or D, extraordinary general. Our answer would be D. It is referred to as extraordinary general. Let's go on to number 35. What is the correct order in which the following headings should appear in the minutes of a meeting? 1, minutes of last meeting. 2, apologies for absence. 3, matters arising for minutes. Let's look at our option answers now. Is it A, 1, 2, and 3? Is it B, 2, 3, then 1? Is it C, 2, 1, then 3, or is it D, 3, 2, 1? So the order in which it would appear first, we would have our apologies for absence, then we'll have our minutes of last meeting, and then we'd have matters arising from minutes. So our answer would be C. Let's go on to 36. One of the most important functions of the Human Resource Department is A. Introducing new employees, B. Receiving visitors to the firm, C. Ensuring proper communication, or D. Attending to the welfare of employees. We know Human Resource Department tends to the welfare of employees. So our answer would be D. Let's go on to number 37. In making hotel reservations for an executive, which of the following would not be considered? A. Duration of the trip. B. Proximity to beaches. C. Type of room required. Or D. Cost of accommodation. Our answer would be B. Proximity to beaches. Let's go on to 38. Letters of credit may be used by a traveler when A. Enough cash is not available, B. Traveler's checks are not available, C. Payments are made for small amounts, or D. Large sums of money are needed abroad. Our answer would be D. Large sums of money are needed abroad. Right? That's when you would use a letter of credit. All right. Let's go on to number 39. Which of the following is not a function of the Human Resource Department? A. Recruitment of staff. B. Payment of salaries. C. Disciplinary procedures. Or D. Induction of new employees. Right? So it says not a function of the Human Resource Department. The Human Resource Department does not pay out salaries. So our answer would be B, payment of salaries. You know that takes care, the payroll takes care of that. Let's move on to 40. Which of the following is not a source of information on job opportunities? A. Thesaurus. B. Newspaper. C. Trade journal. Or D. Company newsletter. Our answer would be A. That's not a source information on job opportunities. A thesaurus, that's where you would, it's like a dictionary. So that could not be a source of information on job opportunities. So let's move on to 41. Mega industries experienced a 45% labor turnover during the last 3 years. Which of the following actions can be taken to reduce this turnover rate? 1. Improve conditions at work. 2. Review and revise salaries offered. Or 3. Provide opportunities for development. Is it A, 1 only? Is it B, 1 and 2 only? Is it C, 2 and 3 only? Or is it D, 1, 2, and 3 only? So we know it's all of the above. Those are the following actions that can be taken to reduce turnover rate. Let's move on to number 42. Okay, so items 42 and 43 is based on these following transactions, all right? during the month of January 2017. 42 says the extract shown above is an example of A, cash book, B, summary sheet, C, statement of account, or D, bank reconciliation statement. So we know that extract shown is a statement of account. So our answer would be C. Let's go on to 43. Assuming that there are no further transactions, what is the opening balance on the account on the 1st of February? So we know that's 150 plus 5, that's 155, right? So we know that our answer is B, 155. Let's move on to number 44. Which of the following represent documents maintained by the Human Resource Office? A, job specification and circulation slips. B, personal history and visitors records. C, contracts of employment and leave forms. Or D, appraisal forms and reception register. Our answer would be C, contracts of employment and leave forms. Let's move on to number 45. Which of the following position is responsible for receiving and relaying messages and making appointments? A, receptionist. B, office hostess. C, office messenger. Or D, company secretary. Our answer would be A. It would be the receptionist. Let's go on to number 46. What is the name given to a check dated ahead of time? That's a giveaway. It's not A, crossed, it's not B, certified, nor D, stale dated, but it is referred to as C, post dated. That is when a check is dated ahead of time. Let's go on to 47. Which of the following documents is issued by the petty cashier as a record of purchase and issue of cash to a member of staff? A, invoice. B, voucher. C, cash bill. Or D, statement. We know our answer would be B, voucher. Let's go on to number 48. What is the main difference between order forms and requisition forms? A, order forms are usually not signed, while requisition forms are signed. B, requisition forms are usually not signed, while order forms are signed. C, order forms are usually externally, while requisition forms are usually internally. D, requisition forms are used externally, while order forms are used internally. So we know our answer would be C. The main difference would be the order forms are used externally, while requisition forms are used internally. Let's go on to number 49. Which of the following would be most suitable for storing inactive files? A, box files. B, microfilm. Or C, according files. D, suspension folders. This is another question that has been repeated. So many of these questions have been repeated. So our answer is B, microfilm. Let's go on to number 50. The main duty of the purchasing clerk is to source supplies, B. Negotiate terms, C. Obtain supplies, or D. Maintain records. We know the main duty would be to maintain records. Let's go on to number 51. Right, we have some stocks here, the movements of stock. So we're going to see how we can use a FIFO method now. 51 says, what is the cost of the closing stock at the end of May using the FIFO method? And we know FIFO first in, first out. So we know we would multiply our 20 stocks multiply by 15. So that would give us $300. So that would be the cost of or FIFO using the FIFO method. Let's go on to 52 and 53. Okay, we have a purchase order here. All right. So we see boxes, different type of sizes of boxes of and envelopes that was bought. All right. So 52 says, what is the cost of the items before the discount is given? So in order for us to find the cost of the items before discount was given, what we would have to do, we would have to multiply our quantity by our unit price. So we're going to multiply 2 by 30, 6 by 17.50, 1 by 12, 2 by $1.50. And when you add all of those in total, you are going to get $180. So that is the cost before discount. Question number 53 says now, what will be the total cost of the items after the discount is calculated? So we have to see, right? After. So it is usually 10%. 10%, right? 10% you should calculate at discount, at the discounted price. So when we find 10% of $180 and then you subtract it from the original cost before discount from the 180, you should get a $162 after you find 10% of that. Let's move on to number 54. Which of the following documents sent by the seller to the buyer contains all of the following information? 1. Details of goods supplied. 2. How the goods were transported. 3. Unit price and total cost. So our answer is going to be D, delivery note. So we have a document here for items number 55 to 57. It says the document above is an example of a we know this is a job card. Sorry, this is referred to as a job card. All right, this is a job card. All right. Let's move on to 56. What is 20% overhead charge? So we're going to add all of the above, all of the above, 600 plus 250 plus 60 plus 200. And then we're going to find 20% of that. So our answer is going to be C, $222. Let's move on to 57, sorry. The total cost of the job is A, $710, B, $910, C, $1,110, D, 1,332. So you're going to add all of the above, all of these, 600, 250 plus 60 plus 200, plus the $222 that you have just worked out, and you should get 1,332. Let's move on to number 58. The duties of a clerk in the dispatch office includes 1. Preparing credit notes, 2. Maintaining a database of couriers, or 3. Liaising with the relevant departments. Is it A, 1 only, B, 1 and 2 only, C, 1 and 3 only, or D, 2 and 3 only? So we know our answer would be D, 2 and 3 only. Maintaining a database of couriers and liaison with the relevant departments. Let's go on to number 59. Which document used in shipping is both a contract for carriage and a document of title? A. Airway bill, B. Bill of lading, or C. Customs form, or D. Export license. No, our answer would be B. Bill of lading. Okay, here we have our final question. We have a clock card, and what we'll do, we see the amount of days and the hours that he worked. 7:30 to 4:30, 7:30 to 6:30, 6, that's Tuesday. Wednesday, 8 to 6:30, Thursday, 7:30 to 4:30, Friday, 7:30 to 4:30, and Saturday, 8 to 1:30. So when you calculate all of those hours from 7:30 to 4:30, when you calculate and you add all those hours, then you get 54 hours in total. So that's what you would do, right? So that is it. This was another repeat question that was on the 2019, as I have explained in detail, past paper one. So we have come to the end of this past paper. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you can keep getting these videos. You can watch them so that you can prepare for your exams. And it is encouraged that you keep watching them over and over and over so that you can get familiar to these questions. Because usually CXC, what it does is pull questions from different past papers and compile them. So you will always keep seeing questions repeating. So it's best to practice. Okay, so remember to subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so that you are alert when new videos are posted. So until then, take good care.